But if he likes them, he's going to be awesome with them. That just makes me very happy.
Yeah, it does. But for right now, he's going to have to run up against his former teammate in the bottom left in the red here in this game number 1. He's playing for Macherino. It's Future.
And in the top right side, we are looking at the main base of the man who's still teamless, but that can't really go on for a whole lot longer, eyeing that Esports World Cup. It is the American Protoss player hailing out of San Diego, California, Max Angel, Astrea. Ooh, 2 SCVs chasing a probe. You don't see that very often. I guess is Future somehow worried about Astrea stealing a gas? I feel like that's the last thing I would ever be worried about in this matchup, but it looked like he was pretty worried.
Hey, remember, Roddy, Astrea, Future, they're friends. They practiced together. They lived in Korea together, I believe, when both went off to Korea end of last year, early this year, whenever that happened. So, yeah, they're not on the same team anymore, but I would not be surprised that there's just kind of some mind games going on between them. They were on Alpha X together for the longest time. So maybe Astrea's got something. You talk about, by the way, Astrea being one of these players that just plays fast and loose, has fun with it. I wouldn't be surprised already if Astrea's got some sort of weird gas steal type of setup where he just goes and steals the gas. And in fairness, Future's going Barracks Double Gas Factory. He is going for that more aggressive build. So if you try to go Barracks Double Gas Factory and can't get your second gas, kind of a problem.
That is true. It's hard to build multiple Reapers, a quick factory, and an Hellion if you only have one gas. Nothing is truly impossible. Gas steal is just not that common. Probe is stuck though. Probe's gonna get recalled. Somebody once upon a time did the math on this. Is it better to just let that probe die and chronobush your Nexus, or is it better to use a recall on your probe and save it? And where almost all of us thought it has to be better to chronoboost, it turned out that is the wrong answer. It is actually slightly better for your economy to just recall a healthy probe if you're 100% certain that it's going to live, and Astrea knew it was going to live here. That really surprised me, Bio. Like, that's one of these things where if you would have put me on the spot, I'd be like, chrono, obviously. Like, I am so certain of it, and then turned out not to be the case.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I would think, okay, by the way, I didn't even notice this. Look at this. You're talking about Astrea playing fast and loose. Future wants to get a tech lab. He wants to get a reactor on this factory. Future's like, yeah, that's fine. Let me drop a pylon right next to it. Good luck. You got to lift the land, do it again. Let me just be annoying. And by the way, it also scouts everything coming out of the factory. Yeah. So, you know, it's weird. It's 100 minerals, but, you know, Rotterdam, you're talking about efficiency. I guess he makes up for it by recalling the probe.
Yep, it is odd indeed, but I kind of like it. Might even be able to spot the Widowmine as well if these Reapers do not keep him too busy. We have a shield battery in the main. Hellion is going to drive into the Natural though, and Astrea maybe made a tiny mistake there, chasing those Reapers with the only 2 units he has. Look at these probes. They were perfectly lined up. In the end, the split is 10 out of 10. But now the Reapers hop into the high ground one more time. Future came to play today. What a start. Gets 4 workers, was very close to getting a 5th or maybe even a 6th. You gotta be loving this start if you're Future, man. If I was him, I'd be buzzing.
Oh, man, this is great. This is really, really good setup for Future right now, getting 4 workers. He's got a chance to get more damage done. This random Widowmine on the map. And by the way, Astrea, yeah, this is annoying, this pylon. Absolutely. But it's also 100 minerals, Roddy, and it will eventually go down. It's supply that you're going to lose, so you got to build the extra one anyways back at home. Has it, like, yes, it's slowed down Future a little bit, but especially given the context of the fact that Astrea was probably not taking a look at what was coming out of the factory all that much because Hellions and Reapers in his main base and his natural, I struggle to say that that pylon was worth it in any way, shape, or form.
We're just gonna yellow the medevac in, by the way, so we'll talk about that pylon soon. Probes are clumped up. Shot is pretty good. The first one, that is. The second one, very underwhelming, as it fired at a probe that went into the assimilator. Can the medevac get in range to save these Widowmines? Picks up one, leaves the other one behind. I was gonna say, I really hope that Future goes for the main base, by the way, because that shield battery that's very useful against Reapers actually works against you when you get Widowmine drop. And of course, the main will have more probes than the natural. In the end, maybe not a massive victory for Future, but I'd be happy with that too. You get 5 workers, you save one of your mines, you keep the medevac alive. Future is absolutely flying so far in game 1. Hasn't won it yet. It's still going to be hard. This is Astrea. Perhaps the absolute top tier favorite to win it all once more in NA. But so far, so good for the man that is playing as the Terran here.
I mean, Roddy, what does it take for you to say it's a massive victory? He's got 9 worker kills. Astrea is down 3 workers against a Terran player at 5.5 minutes into the game. And yes, Stalkers are scary. Blink is scary, but there's a tank set up here. He's going to try to get on top of it. Here comes the rest of the bio. SCVs are going to not keep it alive. But now the Widowmine kills everything. So you got a tank here, Astrea. Congratulations. You just lost almost every single one of your Stalkers.
What a Widowmine shot. Yeah, no, I meant the start overall, I would say, was a massive victory, but I was talking about the Widowmine drop in specifically. Like 5 probes for a mine, obviously good, solid, but since the medevac and the other mine were so low on HP, he kind of had to send it home. I would say a massive victory is killing even more than 5 probes, keeping the 2 Widowmines healthy, keeping the medevac healthy, and putting it behind the main base of the Protoss. Then it's 10 out of 10, but this was still really good, and everything in this game is really good for future.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, it's not going to be the quickest opportunity here as these Stalkers are on patrol. This Widowmine shouldn't get a lot done. Burrow's right on top. Probe's going to get pulled away. He's going to unburrow, re-burrow. Future's attacking his natural just a little bit, so that... Oh, look at the retarget there. Oh, buying as much... This is so annoying, Roddy. Like, Future, you talking about him coming ready to play. This is so annoying.
Burrows it one last time in the end. Maybe it would have been better to just let it fire there, because perhaps the splash damage could get a probe. Future is playing excellent so far in game 1. If Astrea thought he was just going to play a little best of 5 here in the playoffs, have some fun, build some Protoss units, take it from there, he's in for a rude awakening, because so far it really is all Future who's got the 26 army supply advantage. Overall supplies is somewhat close, but really not all that close. Future doesn't mess up here. His army should just be good enough to straight up win. The only thing that Astrea really has at the moment are Stalkers. Stalkers are really good in kiting, running, blinking back, but eventually they're gonna have to stand their ground and fight. And that's something that they don't really excel at.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing as well is Future runs across the map. Stim's not done. Combat shields are not done. Until right now, concussor cells weren't done. And he still killed about 3 Stalkers. So ideally as Astrea, you're kiting back the entire time. You're not losing a single Stalker. You're maybe trading some shields and you're knocking down Marines. If you're lucky, Marauders. If you're really lucky, you're getting tanks. And Astrea just has not really been able to do that. So it's a 30 army supply lead. And yes, Zealots can get on top of things. Zealots can be fairly nice. But I mean, this choke right here that Future has, getting on top of these tanks seems nigh impossible, Roddy.
And I love the early auto turrets as well. I mean, if Astrea wants to wait until the auto turrets are gone, the Nexus is gone. That's exactly what he did. The Widowmine connections are going to be somewhat solid. Plenty of Marines and Marauders still left. Astrea's army here is simply not good enough after all the economic damage he took. And game 1 is all Future. 8 minutes of what felt like Future domination. And I don't know, maybe Astrea not quite awake yet. I invited him to play in a show match a while ago. That's actually 45 minutes later than it currently is. And he was the only player ever to show up late. In the end, we found him. I was like, what's up? He's like, sorry, man, didn't put an alarm clock. Didn't think I'd be sleeping at 1 p.m. But I was. Well, perhaps he's still sleeping right now, BO, but he's going to have to step it up. Because that was shockingly dominant out of Future.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. That was Future. It's one of those things as well where, apparently Astrea was not aware that the maps had changed. So the rocks on the 3rd base used to be double layer. Now they're single layer. So maybe that had something to do with it.
Not sure if that made the difference, but okay.
It didn't help the first 5 minutes, but
the army showed up 10 seconds quicker than it otherwise would have had. But yeah, no, that is a thing.
Anyways, point being here, Astrea really not in the best position. But on the flip side, I mean, Future, he was showing a lot of promise. Coming in last season, he had gone off to Korea. He's come back. Like, wow, he's playing really well. And he didn't make the run we were kind of hoping for. But anyways, he's showing it now. Lots of aggression. And Roddy, we're moving to Dynasty for map number 2. This is not a map we get to see really all that often. And it's a weird one, right? It's a big map, certainly. You can try to take the gold base as your natural, but it's a lot harder for the Protoss player to take than it is the Terran, because you can just kind of put a tank in a bunker there, or just tank and Marines there, or Marauders, and you're probably fine. Yeah. So we're sitting here, Dynasty. I don't know that we have enough games to like really have a number to say, wow, it's 70-30 Terran Protoss, whatever it is. But if I'm Future, I'm not unhappy with the map.
I think the gold can be hard for both players to take, to be fair. Like, Adepts getting in and out is annoying. Reapers and Hellions getting in and out of range of probes is annoying. A shield battery is good against those units, but indeed won't save you against a tank. But a single tank is also not going to save you anymore if it's 10 stalkers, right? Like, I kind of feel that both races have something to complain about there. I still really love the way that Max Pax played this map a while ago, where he just went one gate fast, spent, took the gold on the other side, got his hands on the rich Vespian guys, and just play Phoenix from there on out. I think at that point, you basically turn the map into a little equilibrium. That could be fun, but I actually think we're going to have something completely different, so let's talk about that soon. In the top right side, one of the top tier favorites to win it all. Top 3 without a shadow of a doubt. That's what everybody is expecting of him, but that includes a win here tonight. Down 0-1 is Max Angel, Astrea.
And the bottom left, but also on the north side of the map, in the red, he's up 1. Just relentless early game pressure. For Maturino, it's Future.
I think Future one of the better American Terran players out there when it comes to getting value out of Reapers, and going for the proxy barracks here to make sure that that first Reaper shows up as quickly as possible. Kind of like it. I mean, he looked quick, he looked sharp in the early game there on Crimson Court. I love the multi-prong with the Reapers dragging some, or like baiting some Protoss units almost out of position, open the door for the Hellion, and then by the time that the Protoss units turn around and be like, oh, we need to take care of the Hellion, that's where the Reaper showed up again. I mean, if he keeps that pace up, I really don't see any reason why he can't make this an incredibly fun series.
Look at this, Roddy, though. We started to see Protoss players do this a little bit, where there's that really annoying Reaper cliff that Future's trying to take advantage of. You just wall off your prospective gold. Eventually, if you want to go take that later on, you can mine the minerals. It's really not that much of a problem. And now the Reaper is going to have to run through the natural, which, considering Future proxied left side for a reason, he wanted to take advantage of that very quick path into the main base. Already, it's not the biggest of deals, right? You're still going to get the Reaper in a little faster than you would expect, but not really in the same way. And he is reactoring his proxy single barracks, Roddy.
Wow, okay. Let's keep an eye on that. First probe on the low ground is going to get picked up, though. That's first. Well, Astrea goes sentry first. I mean, we talk about how fun he is and how he likes to do things different. It also feels that sometimes he makes life a little bit hard on him. This Reaper is probably going to get at least one more kill and has potential to get a few more down the line. It is just one for now. First Cyclone on the way. What are we going to build then? An all-out one base all-in, maybe? Like Cyclones from home, Marines, and perhaps a Liberator, Proxy Liberator could be sick here.
Dude, this is just classic Future. We haven't seen him do it a lot recently, but he used to do this kind of stuff all the time a couple years ago. Very aggressive Terran. I love seeing him do it again. He's just reactoring out Marines, Cyclones. You know, Roddy, I gotta say I'm a little surprised. And I understand why you'd build the factory back at home in case there's some sort of counterattack and you want to have something back at home. But I'm almost a little surprised to see him build the factory back at home. Just like, might as well put everything there, have this really close reinforcing position, because even as Cyclones are fast units, Dynasty is massive.
Big, by the way. Cyclone locks on the hallucinated Phoenix. I do really love how many times we've seen players make a very conscious effort on denying hallucinated Phoenix scouts, right? Something that we felt a while ago, Phoenix is just too quick. They can spam them all day, every day. That's really hard. Today, we've seen it in the PvPs. We see it here in the TVP as well, where Future puts his Cyclone in a perfect spot, gets the lock on, micros it, makes sure that he keeps Astrea in the dark. Astrea has absolutely no idea about this city that's being built. It is medevac first into a Liberator as a follow-up. And Astrea is going to work on Blink, but that's going to take such a long time. A single pylon is powering everything. Cyclones maybe are a little bit less intimidating than they were before, but they are tankier. I'm actually very worried here for Astrea already. This is going to be uncomfortable. That pylon will fall. And this is where we're going to get some of that Liquid Clem medevac micro. He did take a lot of damage on the micro, but what a snipe on the pylon.
Uh-oh. I mean, Future, you saw what Clem did against Showtime, or against Hearthstone earlier on. He's like, yeah, let me do it too. Or I guess actually Max Pax would be the better example. Now this medevac is very low, so it doesn't quite have that micro ability. But by the time the gateways all get repowered, you can't build stalkers anymore. There's no cyber. So it's a little bit awkward. Medevac does go down. That's not really what you want. Tanks are being made from back at home. That takes a while. But it's 3 stalkers. And there's a Liberator on the map, Roddy. How do you deal with this?
Yeah, but it's very awkward to lose that medevac as well, right? Because now all those Marines are stuck. But Future does move a couple of the units into the natural, and he snipes that battery. That's the only battery that Astrea had. Astrea is on 44 probes against a one-base Terran. Like 44, that's ridiculous.
Well, you know, if more money's some money is good, more must be better, I guess. But that also means that he can pull his pros into the fight and maybe not be as sad. I think he's just very sad, though. There's a tank, there's a Cyclone, Liberator's going to seize the ramp. Immortal on the high ground is just annihilated here. And yeah, the tank may go down, but Roddy, now all the Stalkers are dead. And we still don't have oh no, we do have a Cyber Core, okay, but there are no more Stalkers being made. Nothing deals with these Liberators at all. Astrea is so very dead in this game.
He's very sad. I love the way that you put it, mate. He is indeed incredibly sad because it's nothing but Marines, Cyclones, and tanks that are being rallied into his natural. 20 probes have fallen. Only a single Stalker remains. That Stalker will fall too. And Astrea is probably wondering at first, like, how do you have so many units? Because it's a one-base all-in, mate. It is legitimately a one-base all-in, and perhaps sniping that hallucinated Phoenix was the key to the victory here, right? Because Astrea probably thought, he's just being aggressive and then he's just expanding and chilling. No, it was nothing but aggression. Astrea does have Blink now, but he really just has no army anymore, man. Like, how much can you really do as a one-base Protoss? There are two Stalkers that are a single Marine hit away from dying. I mean, I'd love to see this tank actually just on siege. There's a tank on the low ground that gets the 6 shot off, gets the double kill on those two. One Zealot got warped in and is going full Super Saiyan with shield battery overcharge, but not even Astrea is gonna micro his way out of this one. Future against all odds, I would almost say, is about to take the 2-0 lead after, what, 14 minutes of video gaming?
Maybe, yeah, 14 minutes or so, maybe just a little bit more. It's funny, you look at this, it's like, okay, well, Future's had 2 aggressive games and they've worked out. Can he do this for an entire series? Well, he can in game number 2. But even more importantly, it's not like game 1 was all that weird. It was 2 Reapers and a Hellion, sure, but it was straight up Terran play after that.
It was a bit weird because of how Astrea opened, right? With that pylon block and then, yeah, just doing things in a slightly different order. That was a bit odd. The second game is odd, but it's also odd because of the way that Astrea plays. Like, Astrea going for the wall off, then going for Sentry first. Like, Sentry first is just awkward. Like, it can be good. It can give you a great scout. But what Sentries don't have is micro potential. And where he built his first gate, then your first unit is always going to be late. So that Reaper immediately grabs the double kill. That's a great start, right? Probe in the natural, probe in the main. Couple probes are chasing that Reaper, so a bit of lost mining time. It just took Astrea a very, very long time to actually figure out what's happening. While if he would just open up with an adept like normal Protoss players do, BO, then maybe he shades to the other side of the map, or he tries to find that barracks, and then he's like, oh, okay, now I know what's up. Because I feel like if he knew what was up, 0% chance you go 44 probes without a battery. Like, that's crazy.
Well, you know, Roddy, he did have 1 battery, and it went down.
Yeah, the initial battery in the natural, because he went Reaper first. Actually, because he went Sentry first, right? You kind of have to.
So, well, yeah, he technically had 1, but it died very quickly. And I thought there might be an issue with Future with how long it takes to rally the factory production over, you know, because yeah, you got all this stuff, but until you really have the tanks there, there are some issues. But you know, you're able to make enough chaos happen. You're able to attack in 2 sides, and more importantly than anything else, you know, Rotterdam, you talked about the lack of battery. That Artosis pylon in the main base that depowered Link and like all the production. And by the time that everything was back in order, the Cyber Core was dead, so you couldn't build Stalkers to deal with anything again. That was the problem. I mean, yes, battery might have made it a little bit easier, but man, you depower that much stuff, it's going to be hard for the Protoss player.
Yes, but let's say there is a battery in the main, and the Stalkers can just take an ambitious fight, right? Push those units back, pylon doesn't die, or you heal up the pylon with a battery. All of that would have been possible. That was a great call by Future, because his army obviously shows up incredibly early, because it was all one base, and it was proxy starport. So you would think that he could try to play the micro dance in the main base and go for some probes as well and try to get a couple Stalker kills. But he said, no, I'm going to stand there, awkward angle. Not all of my units can go for that pylon, but I believe this is the correct call. And it allowed the Stalkers to bring that medevac very low in HP. It allowed the Stalkers to put a lot of damage on that Cyclone that otherwise would be hard. But hey, it turned out to be a 10 out of 10 call, because after everything got unpowered for so long, Astrea just never really found his way back into the game.
Yeah, well, I got bad news if you're Astrea fans, because we're moving on to Ghost River for Game 3, and it's not impossible for Protoss, certainly not. But if you're a Terran player and you're looking to be an aggressive Terran player, it's not a bad map to go and hit with a 1 base, 1-1-1, 1.5 base, something like that. We're going to let the players tell the story, though, because Game 3 is on the way. And the upper left here in the blue, down 2. The odds-on favorite to take the entire tournament, but back against the wall right now, it's Astrea.
And in the top right side of Ghost River, playing an incredibly sexy and awesome best of 5 so far. And once more, one of the boys has already left town, taking a 2-0 lead. This is Future. Astrea sending a pretty early probe to the other side of the map as well. I think trying to get a confirmation on whether or not the barracks will be built at home. The moment he sees it's not there, I do still kind of wonder, will he be able to find that barracks? You still have to go just 1 gate fast expand. You can't overreact all of a sudden because you're down 0-2 and you see there's no barracks at home. Be like, oh, no, I'm too afraid to expand. Kind of need to expand. Protoss just doesn't really grow properly if you don't go for a quick expand in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons that traditionally at times, now obviously PvT for the last little bit of time has been decently Terran favored, but traditionally one of the ways you would see Terran players whine or complain is that, look, because of Chrono, Protoss economy develops so much faster than I do. I just feel behind economically from the start. Now, granted,
Astrea hasn't seen it yet.
No, he hasn't. Oh, I love Future. This is great.
And this is going to be so quick as well. That first Reaper is going to have a lot of potential. If it gets 2 workers, I think Astrea can live with it. But if it turns into like 3 or 4 probes immediately, we're going to build a bunker here as well. Astrea now knows about this barracks with the pylon finishing up and probes getting a bit closer. It's going to try to immediately get 1 battery. I would almost say you might want to get 2nd battery here. The problem with this shield battery is that it's in range of the bunker. And if the bunker finishes up, a Reaper can just sit inside of the bunker and kill the battery. I really do think you need a 2nd battery. That's what Astrea realizes now as well, but is that too late or is it still in time?
Well, the bunker's going to be done now, and well, SCV, I love this, by the way. Future pulls a 2nd SCV because he knows the first one, both things are in range, right? So the shield battery's there. The 2nd shield battery should be up in time to
I don't know about that.
One, I think.
I don't know about that. I think the first one is going to die, and then the 2nd one is going to die, and Astrea is just in a world of trouble here. This is incredibly uncomfortable. There is still 1 SCV that's going to try to dodge these stalker shots, those projectiles while they're flying towards that SCV. Future is flying, man. What a best of 5 by him so far. Everything he touches turns into gold, and Astrea is in a world of trouble.
I love this as well because he has the barracks so close. Like, I'm going to build Marines. I'm going to put them in the bunker. This is going to be great. You cannot hold the low ground. I don't think I've seen a bunker rush like this in maybe ever, but now the pylon's going to go down to the natural. I don't think he gets the Nexus. I don't know that there's enough damage for that. But, I mean, oh, maybe actually. The Stalkers are very low here, and the SCV is... This SCV is 1 Stalker shot away from Death Rotterdam, and it's still here.
It has been for a little while, to be completely fair. I don't know. He might actually be able to get the Nexus eventually, as Astrea is sending out a probe, thinking of maybe expanding elsewhere. The Reaper hops out of the bunker and just chases down this probe. Astrea is going to try to get another battery up on the low ground, but 2 Cyclones are already out. A medevac is out. Don't forget, these Cyclones, maybe not as scary as before, but they are tankier than before. And that means that with a medevac to support them as well, those 2 Cyclones, a medevac, a couple of Marines against 3 Stalkers that are better than Bruce, that's an easy fight, and it's going to take a long time before the Immortal comes out. I am so worried here for Astrea. I am so worried.
I'm a little surprised that we don't see him just running up the front, but hey, that's a beautiful pylon. Gateway, also the Robo, the Immortal that would allow you to finally crack this bunker down. So ring around the rosy. Pockets, in fact, maybe full of Posey. Medevac gets a little bit low, but that's a depowered pylon. Cyclones, they're so powerful in this setup. 1 gets picked up, medevac, 50% HP. But as the Stalkers go down, Overcharge is going to have to get popped here. Otherwise, there's no way these Stalkers survive. And I'm a little surprised we're not seeing more tanks on the way, right? That seems fairly useful. But there's a 3rd Cyclone here, Roddy. Overcharge is done. I thought we were going to see Future commit a little bit more, but no, he's going to back out for now.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he does not believe he had one SCV left over there as well. Maybe Future is just happy. I guess what he does not want to do is throw. Also, we saw that Robo was being chrono boosted. He didn't really know when that Immortal would come out. I think Future is just playing it safe. There was definitely more potential there. And maybe if those two Cyclones and that Medevac immediately drive into the natural and they battle those Stalkers, or you right-click on the battery and then you battle those Stalkers, this looks a whole lot better even. But how can you not be happy with this start so far of your Future? I mean, he's got an Expand up and running. He's building another command center. He's going for the Raven with Interference Matrix. And he's got all the micro potential in the world with these Medevacs. It could have been game over. It's not game over yet, but it's definitely, I think, looking very good. Even if he is a couple workers behind, but I have the feeling that he should be able to make up for that.
Oh, and importantly as well, like you talk about being workers behind. Astrea's not, medevac, gonna get out. Astrea doesn't have his third base already. He's building more gateways. Sure, fine. He's going up to 3, I think. Probably without a third base, the Terran has a third. Astrea doesn't have a lot of runway in this game. He's got to get some damage done, get a base up, something, but it looks like his answer, yeah, I'm just going to go all in. 3 more gateways on the way, charge on the way. We're not taking a pit stop for Blink, getting Templar Archive, adding in some Immortals, and a charge lot Immortal Archon timing against a Terran player. Not my favorite.
I think he does want to expand. I think he was just worried that if he would expand with too few gateways, then he's going to get A-moved by whatever move out Future might go for. So Astrea, I think, just wants to make sure that he has some production, and then he will still go up to 3 bases. It loses Observer too, by the way, against the Cyclone Raven combo. Yeah, I feel like whatever choice Astrea makes, there is something that we can absolutely say about it. I like the idea of going quick Storm, but Storm is insane if Future is very heavy on Marines, right? And his entire game plan relies on Marines just standing there and winning. It's not just Marines, though. We already have 2 tanks. Third tank is on the way. We've got a Raven with Interference Matrix that can disable a War Prism. But you have a lot of Marauders on the way, 2 Marauders at a time being cranked out. I don't think there is a right decision for Future, to be completely honest. This might be it, but it still doesn't look any prettier than it did a while ago.
No. And remember, as well as we talk about what's happening here, Storm 2/3 of the way done. And, you know, technically, Immortal Storm versus Marine Marauder, you can see it going either way, technically. But this is not the end of the road for either player. We're in the upper bracket. This is our first round of the playoffs. If you do lose this series, as Astrea is looking like that might be the way he's going, he still has a shot in the lower bracket. Now, at that point, your life's on the line. You can afford no other losses. But for the moment, you know, losing this series does not knock you out of that tournament, as we're going to see a couple Zealots get really separated from this army.
Boom.
Knocked down very quickly. Good shutdown there on the War Prism as well. So no Storms available in this army. And you got to be careful, because the only reason the Warp Prism's playing like that, Future knows there's got to be a Storm inside. So we're going to see the Colossus go down. That's a big Storm. Well, the problem is the Immortals are now dead. Only one High Templar finds its way down. There's another Interference Matrix. This army
is a really sad Protoss army at the moment. Don't forget, there's no upgrades on it either. So it's not like the Zealots are going to be tanky and they survive for a little while. Astrea can land the best Storms humanly possible, and I still don't see how he then takes out all the tanks, all those Marauders. Marines, yes, they are gonna have to run for the hills, but it's not just about the Marines, it's about everything else that Future is bringing to the front here. Astrea is going to be forced to tap out in the near future. There really is no way around it. He's down 60 supply BL. We're starting off the American playoffs with a bang, as perhaps the top favorite gets swept 3-0 by one of the best performances that I think we have seen of Future.